of the strategies that we had looked at was the possibility of the government buying large mass of land and then doing the land preparation in terms of sand filling, and they can now sell those land to real estate developers who genuinely want to build affordable housing for the Bayelsa people.
Hello and welcome. We'll be discussing a pressing issue in Bayelsa State, which is the housing deficit. And I'm joined by Efiko Homes, a leading real estate company in Bayelsa State, which is committed to providing innovative and affordable housing solutions for everyone. Basically, they are based in Bayelsa, but their services cut across the nation and other parts of the country. So here I have Mr. Odusi Asieri.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Okay, so he'll be sharing his insights about the housing deficits. He would share also some solutions. He'll share some products they've been working on to mitigate the housing deficit in Bayelsa State, and also share a plan for the next 3 to 5 years. So please tell us about the housing deficit in Bayelsa State.
Okay, yeah, thank you for this question. So, one of the things that we noticed, particularly when we started our journey as a real estate education and investment outfit, was the fact that there is an existing housing deficit. Basically, it's across the country, but then, of course, we are based in Bayelsa State, Nigeria, and then we looked into the existing market and saw that truly there is a housing deficit. And this basically is characterized by the fact that almost on an annual basis there are influx of people who come into the state for different purposes. We have students who come in for their studies across the various universities in the state. We also have core members who also come for their youth service. Some of them get integrated into the society even after their youth service. We also have our northern brothers who come in, who immigrate from their respective states and then also come to make ends meet over here in Bayelsa State. And then there are pockets of business people who come into town, set up their businesses, and then live with the people. Now, with this influx of people coming in, we started to see that there were not sufficient housing to accommodate these people. And then the very few persons who are able to go into real estate developments, build 1 or 2 or 3 units for apartments, before the property is even finished, the accommodation or the house is already rented out. So we begin to see that there is a more demand for housing, and then in terms of the supply is almost non-existent. And so for that reason, we have seen that gap truly exists, and there's need for both government and private sector players to come in to see how this gap can be breached.
Thank you very much. So talking about private sectors and the government coming in to mitigate the housing issues, what strategies, what solutions, what ways do you think they can come in to mitigate this housing deficits?
Oh yes. So for first of all, Bayelsa is a peculiar case because we need to first understand that it's a mangrove region, and so there's a lot of money that goes into developing housing, because outside the land that you get to purchase, there's still a lot of land preparation that has to be done, particularly with sand filling the land so that it is at least above sea level or above road level, as the case may be. So there's a lot of work that goes into that place, and this is not something that an individual, a private individual, can do on his own or her own. So there's that role where the private sector can play, and then the government can also play. Now, one of the strategies that we had looked at was the possibility of the government buying large mass of land and then doing the land preparation in terms of sand filling, and they can now sell those land to real estate developers who genuinely want to build affordable housing for the Bayelsa people. And with that kind of synergy between government and private real estate developers, we can now see that there will be rapid development of housing that can help to bridge this gap. And also, if you look at across the world, there are a lot of ways that different countries, private organizations are looking at, still mitigating the housing deficit and also building more affordable homes for people. So we hear of things like modular homes,
Mm.
you know, cabins, container homes, and all the rest. Now, Bayelsa can also take a cue from that and say, how can we start to build, modular homes that people of the lower income class can afford, so they can pay. You can have this pay small, small kind of strategy. It's more like the way you have your mortgage structure, but then you can have those people on the lower cadre of the ladder be able to have a roof over their head. So it can be in form of zoning particular areas and say, okay, maybe this is a low income housing or mobile home parks, and then you have modular homes set up on these places, and then they are sold to these low income earners in installments. So these two strategies can be a solution that biases can adopt, and then we can deliberately close the housing gap.
Oh, thank you very much. I believe they are listening. They've heard you, and I think there's a lot more we could do. Just for want of time, I think that's why I shared just this few. But what roles can Efiko Homes play in mitigating this housing issue? For the private sector, I believe Efiko is also part of the private sector. So,
Yeah.
what roles is Efiko Homes playing to help out with this?
Okay, so for us, the core of our service or operations exists in terms of education. So we're very big on education. We What we try to do is to open up the possibilities of people that housing development is a good area that you can go into, particularly as private investor. So we do most of them investor education to get private pockets to be able to impute or develop the real estate space in Bayelsa State. And outside of that, we also have been able to come up with several products, and some of them will be launching soon in the market. For instance, we have our Efiko co-living project, which seeks to reduce the cost of housing for students and core members. And that is one of the products that we're working on, because of course we've done our research, we've done taking surveys, we've met our target audience, wanting to understand their pain points, and then we are building something for them where they're able to have a roof over their head, have access to power, have access to internet, everything that will make them able to, thrive, either as students or core members. And that's the product that we're putting up in the market. We're also looking at also going into the modular homes construction space, which is something that we are looking in our 3 to 5 year roadmap. We also want to contribute to that space where we can build modular homes, and then people within the lower income brackets can be able to have a roof over their head and pay gradually towards completion of payments.
And thank you very much. For where there is a need or a challenge, there's also opportunity there. So, what opportunities are there for people seeking to pivot into real estate investment?
Okay, yes. So particularly, we have a community. We call it our clan, Efiko Real Estate Clan. Basically, some of the things that we talk about, particularly in our mastermind sessions, is to show the possibilities. So, for instance, the real estate value chain is very broad, and people can take the particular area within the value chain that best aligns with their interests. Um, there's career opportunities as a real estate agent or a wholesaler. There's also opportunities as a private money lender or a private money partner. And so those are different opportunities. So you can come into the industry as somebody who basically provides funding for real estate developers. You can come into the industry as developers yourself, to put in the structures on ground. And then you can also come in as agents or wholesalers who are able to market these properties and they get them sold or get them rented. So there are different areas, dependent on your financial capacity, dependent on your particular area of interest. You can play within any area within the value chain, and that's what we do in our community.
Oh, that's amazing. So, how does someone get into the clan?
Okay, yes. So across our various social media platforms on our website, when you check the our bio, the link to our community. So we have an existing active Telegram and WhatsApp community where we basically talk about anything real estate, and then we also have a monthly mastermind section which we also hold virtually. And then we have a private community where we also have physical meetings with some members of our community. So it's just as simple as just going to any of our social media platforms, Efiko Homes NG, and then you have access to the link to any of our communities.
Okay, thank you very much. We're about rounding up, but I'd like to ask one question. For people willing to invest into real estate, there a little challenge adding to the housing deficit in Bayelsa State, which is for land ownership and purchase.
Mm.
There are cases where one property is sold to four different persons, five different persons, and then that becomes a challenge for some persons who are looking into investing. So, what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, this is an interesting thing. And this is not just a Bayelsa problem, it's a Nigerian problem. And this is because we have not been able to streamline the process for, you know, title documents, title recordings, with the respective authorities. And it's not something that can be single-handedly done by private individuals. Of course, private players can come into that place, but there's one important role that government needs to play in terms of the regulations. So it's expedient that you know people who own properties, existing lands, they call farming lands, need to register these lands and are properly recorded with either the local governments. So in terms of if you look at Bayelsa, so all properties, all lands in the Naga local government needs to be registered with the local government authority. They can have like maybe a land bureau within that particular agent authority or local governments where lands can be recorded. Now, for every single purchase, as an independent buyer, you can go to the local government, go to that particular land office, and able to verify the authenticity of that particular property. You can see who actually owns the property, if it has been sold to somebody else. If it has been sold to somebody else, that should be also recorded. So you just have layers of transfer in terms of ownership of land. Now, if this is streamlined, and then there's a law enacted to ensure that every person complies with that, it's really stop that issues that we have with one person selling multiple land or one land to multiple individuals. So I think that's the approach that can be taken.
Yeah. So you heard it. Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you.
Odusi. Thank you, Efiko Homes, for this opportunity. I believe I've learned a lot, and he watching there, I've learned a lot too. So just like you said, follow Efiko Homes on all social media platforms. We're putting the accounts and all the links in the description. Please read, subscribe, follow. I'll see you in the next video.
Thank you.
Thank you.